This Superman that we have now, he ain't no hero. What he is he's a spell. Kal-El, that's El, the Elohim, the gods. But before DC Comics, that god was black, divine, and cosmic. In 2016 and 2021, Forbes dropped science-based articles on why Superman should be black. The basic premise behind a black Superman is that he's fueled by sunlight and his cells absorb solar radiation. In nature, some organisms do something similar through what's called photosynthesis. This is where plant cells capture photons in light using chlorophyll, which is similar to how melanin works. See, what they really did was they dressed Ogun in a cape, they gave Shango laser vision, and they stripped the melanin but kept the myth. He's an alien to his culture, raised by outsiders, and afraid of his own power. Sound familiar? That's media sorcery. They hijack the God code, take our DNA, and then replace it and sell it back to us in whiteface. Cape or no cape, the real Krypton is your forgotten ancestral memory. Kryptonite are distractions in this matrix. The real Superman ain't about saving this world. He's a reminder that when you go into your own fortress of solitude with meditation, your ancestors' backing, and good character, you take flight yourself. Peace, power, and prosperity. Rob Blackstorm. One love, y'all.
Black people have superpowers. Let me tell you why.
Blacks dominate because they were bred for strength.
Because this goes back all the way to the Civil War, when during the slave trading, the slave owner would breed his big black to his big woman, so that he could have a big black kid, see? The black is a better athlete to begin with because he's been bred to be that way, because of his high thighs and big thighs that goes up into his back, and they can jump higher and run faster because of their bigger thighs.
Hello brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you're doing great from whatever you're watching me from. I'm your host and presenter, Genetic Stories. Now, as the year comes to an end, there's something that I want to talk about. And when you look at the all of 2025 and how it has unraveled for generally people of the United States, you understand that things have not been easy for them. You understand that at some point, this almost reached at the throat of everyone. Like, people were having it hard. Like, it wasn't easy the way it used to be. And I understand so much economic shifts in 2025 crazily happening at the same time in the same year, and all this happened just because policies changed, because Trump entered into the seat somewhere around December 2025, and so this marks 1 year since all the start of the fall of the United States. But there's just one thing I would like to recognize. I would like to recognize the fact that we have seen Black people becoming the most resilient. In fact, if we add a wrap up for the people that have really tried to hold on, Black Americans, right? This will have gone to the Black Americans. And it is so much important for people to see this even with a spiritual lens, even without just a physical lens, because on a physical note, people will see that, oh, it's Black unity that is making Black people thrive. Oh, Black people know how to, live with each other. We are not like white people, where capitalism is controlling everything. And I just want you to see this everything spiritually, right? Because this was that year that people expected Black people to break down. But we didn't see Black people, at least not majority of them. When you try to compare the population of white people that came out and Black people that came out complaining about the cost of living and everything, you are going to see that we are having a large amount of white people. That tells you one thing. There's something that Black people hold, and that's a supernatural power. Brothers and sisters, I'm not saying Black people are Superman or Batman or they are going to save something in Gotham City. No, there's something special about Black people. And I want you to watch this video because I'll be back and then we're going to be having a talk in regards to this. So let's watch the video. I'll be back and then I'll be sharing my thoughts in regards to this. I'm your host and presenter, Genetic Stories, and happy holidays from wherever you watch me from.
I don't mean to say this like to be disrespectful, and maybe some people are going to think this sounds dumb, but I feel like there's a deeper reason why, people of color and specifically the Black community have been relentlessly persecuted. Like, I mean, just the things that happened during slavery alone, like, were insane. But I don't know, the more I learn about Black history and the ways that, people who literally worked in the government, like the CIA, all these different people in power were trying to ruin the Black community. And it makes me think, dude, I feel like, is there something more going on here than just racism? Because it's like, come on, you're telling me you're doing all of this stuff just because you don't like someone's skin color? I feel like, I have this theory that, like, what if Black people have some type of superpower? Like, what if they have, I don't know, if they're just born with something very valuable that we don't really know about, but maybe, like I said, these rich people and these people in power, maybe they figured it out a long time ago, and maybe that's why they were like, oh, we have to, like, get rid of them, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I feel like maybe they have something special that we are not taught about that is linked to them being people of color, I feel like there's a deeper reason why, people of color and specifically the Black community have been relentlessly persecuted. Like, I mean, just the things that happened during slavery alone, like, were insane. But I don't know, the more I learn about Black history and the ways that, people who literally worked in the government, like the CIA, all these different people in power were trying to ruin the Black community. And it makes me think, dude, I feel like, is there something more going on here than just racism? Because it's like, come on, you're telling me you're doing all of this stuff just because you don't like someone's skin color? I feel like, I have this theory that, like, what if Black people have some type of superpower? Like, what if they have, I don't know, if they're just born with something very valuable that we don't really know about, but maybe, like I said, these rich people and these people in power, maybe they figured it out.
So it's a vibrational thing. It's melanin. Melanin is literally worth more than gold. Having melanin, this layer, this epidermis, this layer of skin protects you from the sun. We are people of planet Earth. We are the Aboriginal inhabitants of planet Earth. Literally. There was a man by the name of Albert Perry, and he's from South Carolina in America, and he has the oldest DNA in the world. His DNA is said to be over 300,000 years old, and he's from America. So older than the Lucy bones, older than the other woman's bones. I can't think of her name. That was found in South America. And then, of course, Henrietta Lacks. She has immortal cells that literally was on display as art in a museum. Another Black American woman. I'm putting emphasis on Black American because y'all already know all of the theories of where we come from, when literally melanin rich people were all over the globe at one point. And our pineal glands are open. It's not calcified like other people. We have different digestive systems. That's why the food pyramid doesn't necessarily work with us. Like, we have to eat different. And I would advise everyone to find out what your blood type is and eat according to your blood type. Okay? Give yourselves what they need, but also the melanin. And this is why they try to demonize watermelon, because watermelon is actually amazing and immaculate for people with melanin. Like, hello. But we are vibrational beings. Everything around you is moving. We are rhythmically inclined. This is why we created every single genre of music, Black Americans. And this is why we can dance and we have a certain type of rhythm to us, because we are in tune with the vibrational frequency of this physical plane. They clone Tyrone ain't fake. They literally pump things in our neighborhoods. They give us certain types of food to lower our vibrational field. Because when you're vibrating on a certain frequency, it also helps you to tap into the spiritual realm. And you could access different dimensions. Are we going a little too far? A little too deep? And also, I think that the clear folk is just afraid of us being the superpower that we have always been. No matter what conditions we live in, we always thrive. No matter what foods, no matter what diseases, whatever you pump into the community, we're still producing by the droves. They've created in vitro and all of that for a particular group of people, because they didn't realize that giving all of the chemicals and everything to us, it affected them as well, but on a grand scale. Clock that motherfucking T, bitch. They need some. We ain't gonna go into that. We ain't gonna go all the way into that. Okay. But it's a spiritual thing. It's a light. Someone said that it's like we're like the X-Men, like the X-Men theory. How X-Men are like mutants, and everybody ostracizes them and thinks that they're weird, and they're forced to live like, you know, off on an island on their own. But they always show up to help everybody. Everybody's always relying on them to save the day, while simultaneously treating them like shit. That is the plight of a Black American person, and we literally keep industries alive. We have like $1.9 trillion in spending power in this country. We get all of the negative stigmas, even though people are inflicting those things on us. Everybody's trying to destiny swap, and I'm specifically talking about Black Americans. Everybody's trying to destiny swap with us because we're special. There's like over 50,000 patents of things that Black Americans invented that you use every single day that you don't even realize you're using. Everyone is breathing in our culture because we are the very essence of the world. It just is what it is. This is long, but yeah, we are special. A lot of us are psychic without even knowing, extremely intuitive. I have prophetic dreams. My grandma has had prophetic dreams. Y'all say we don't have no culture. We have a lot of different things that we do that is not breathed in and out every single day because we don't talk about it outwardly. But yeah, it's a superpower. And if we were to cut all of the vices and probably unplug from the devices, ain't no fucking telling who we would be. Spread love is the Brooklyn way.
Majority of African Americans that lived here were brought over here.
No,
No.
that's not economically sound.
What do you mean by it's not economically sound?
Oh, so what I'm saying is, people were already here. Does it make sense to go all the way to this other continent to bring people on a boat when we know that half of your stock is gonna die? You wouldn't do that.
So how many people do you think were brought over from Africa on slave ships? Because that definitely happened.
I don't believe it.
What do you mean you don't believe it?
I don't believe that story. You think this whole land was empty? No, there were natives here.
Right.
But today we're taught that natives is some other people. No, natives are the melanated African being that has come here since the beginning of the Mali Empire. We're talking about 14th, 13th century. We had already come here from Africa.
Really?
Oh yeah, we had already come here. You know, maybe people were brought over as slaves, but I don't think that the Black people in America came from Africa on slave ships. I believe the people that were here were slowly conquered. First they got the East Coast, and then they started spreading out west little by little, conquering. And when you conquer a tribe, what do? You enslave them. They're POWs. Right?
Okay.
That's what you do.
But I'm still confused. There's a great history of slave ships being brought over from Africa.
History is his story.
Right.
What about my story? Is my story not valid?
But if you do 23andMe on from out
23andMe?
Well, that's
either way, if you take Black people here in America and you do their DNA sample and it point back to Africa, what does that say? It says Black people in America are Africans. Now the argument is, were we brought here or were we already here? Did we bring ourselves here, or did the white man bring us here? You see, when you say the white man brought us here, what you're doing is you're removing our ability to transport ourselves. You're saying, oh, we didn't know anything about boats. That's what you're trying to tell me. You're trying to tell me that we didn't know that there was a landmass here. Go look at the primary source. You got here, we met Black people. When we got the Caribbean, we met Black people. You think the Caribbean is right next to America and they weren't in America?
That's interesting.
Doesn't make any sense. I mean, when you go and you look at real European history, would believe that if they took a bath, it was bad.
Right.
They didn't even want to change their clothes. They thought that dirty was purity. When we talk about the Moors going into Spain and into Europe, the stories in the history, our history, says that when we met the so-called Caucasian, he was sleeping in the barn with the animals, and we told him, no, you can't sleep in the barn with the animals. We taught them etiquette. We taught them running water. We brought that technology to Europe. Now, if we brought the technology to Europe that saved Europe from the Black Plague, you mean to tell me that if we saved the white race, that we weren't already in America already? When we brought the technology? When Rome was dependent on Africa for food? Remember when the Black Plague hit Rome? The cause was one of the officials was stealing the grain that was coming from Africa. So there was famine hit Rome. If your source of sustenance is from Africa, how are you superior? You're not. You get your food from me. So if you get your food from me, who's more likely to travel this globe? Me, I'm the source of food. And that's the first thing you need to survive on this planet.
So I was raised that Black people were God's favorite and they were the superior race. And it was interesting to be raised with that mentality because I think it's different than a lot of how other like white people were raised. And I do believe that if more people were raised this way, the world would be a little bit better of a place and maybe we can get along a little bit nicer together. Obviously, there's pros and cons to everything. So I would love to discuss the pros and cons of what it was like to be raised with this mentality, as well as like what you think about it and what you think we should do going forward to raise the next generation of children who are carrying the future for us. So how this mentality came about, I was really quizzical and curious as a child and very outspoken. It's interesting to look back now that we're in this ginger talk right now. I'm kind of reliving a few of the silly little traumas that we face as gingers. And I noticed that I was more outspoken between the ages of 0 and 8. And once I started getting really made fun of as a ginger, I kind of lost my voice and I wasn't as brave or outspoken and I was shy and timid. So it's kind of interesting to have that realization now, so many years later. Anyway, back to the important topic here. The way that this mentality was brought on to me was, as I said, I was very outspoken and, you know, I was quizzical and curious as a child. So before the age of 6, I asked my mom, why do we call them Black people when they're more different shades of brown? And I asked her, why do people treat them differently or call them names? Like, what does this mean? Why is this happening? And how do you explain race and racism to a child that is under the age of 6 in a way that they can understand? Because obviously they're not going to be able to comprehend or grasp the entirety of the depth of what racism really truly is. So how do you explain that to a child? She knew that I loved my brownies and my cookies baked a little bit longer than you're supposed to because the crispy edge of the brownie was always my favorite. And I loved when the chocolate chip cookie was a little bit crispy on the outside and a little gooey on the inside. And that was the perfect way to bake the cookies and bake the brownies. So she used that analogy. And yes, it sounds crazy, but as a 4-year-old child, it made perfect sense. And she used that analogy and she said, you know how you like your cookies and your brownies baked a little bit extra? That's kind of what God did with Black people. He took more time and more love into creating Black people. And that's why they're a little bit darker than you. He just baked them a little bit longer. That's how she described race to me. And she said that anybody who talks badly about them or is mean to them is just jealous. So right away, I was kind of just like completely infatuated and just in awe of Black people because I'm like, oh my gosh, what is it like to be God's favorite? What is it like to, you know, just be loved a little bit more from God? Like, I just thought it was incredible and amazing. And so I always just gravitated towards Black people because I was like, oh my God, like they're so lucky. Do they know how lucky they are? Like, how cool is it that God spent a little bit more time on them? I was fascinated by it. And
Black people have superpowers. Let me tell you why. Think about it, yeah. If life is a game, then being black is like the highest level, like your game, like the player of the game, like the highest form of the creation of the hilly-pillification. Like, it just, if you think about it, yeah, being black, yeah, in any industry, whether it's rapping, football, being an athlete, influencing, modeling, whatever it is, they're just winning. They take everyone's gal, they got beautiful skin, they can eat anything, and like, it's their genes, it's their DNA. Like, they're just winning. I just, like, it's not fair, but like, it's fair because it makes sense. Like, if reincarnation is real, I can't lie to you, I'm gonna be like, yo, this time, I wanna be black. Like, when I incarnate again, like, I wanna feel what it feels like to have, get me, like, bruv, I can't lie.
The fact that we're creative and we can control culture, that we can sing and we can dance and we can rap and we can play basketball and we can dress and we can design, that's a superpower. And so in this moment, like, as a people, we got to embrace all of our creative, and the fact that we're like good people and kind. Didn't win, but I ran for a state Senate seat and 2023. And one of the criticisms that I got when I was running was that he's a really good orator. He speaks well. And this from a black person said this to me. And for whatever reason, in that moment, I felt bad about that gift. And I allowed that criticism to make me try to, like, speak differently or not try to be as charismatic in the way that I spoke. And it ended up being to my detriment. So the reason I say that is oftentimes people make us feel bad about our gifts. It's nothing wrong. It's actually a gift that we're good at being creative. That's a superpower. It's a superpower that you brothers can put something like this on and get traction and people are interested in what y'all are doing. That's a superpower. That's our superpower. And they often make us feel like it's not.
So I jumped on here really quick to say this after the Kendrick Lamar halftime performance and some of the comments I'm reading and the outrage and blatant disrespect is, how is it black culture is an obvious cultural superpower? How do we know this? We see the influence of black culture all across this world, whether it be walk, talk, fashion, swag, music, all the things. People are propelled to stardom, they make money, they get all kinds of praise. But the moment a black person presents their own culture that's being appropriated by others, it tends to be a problem.
You're black, you're stuck in the 17th century, but you get to have one superpower. What's it gonna be?
I see a lot of people say they want the ability to turn people black. And at first, that's what I was gonna pick. But then I thought, no, I want to be invisible to anyone who's racist. You can't stand aside of me? Boom, now you can't see me. And to be able to pass that ability on to other people. So I roll onto a plantation, me and the rest of the slaves just stroll right into Master's house, take all his money, all his jewelry, clean him out. Nobody sees us. And we just, boom, head out. We move on to the next plantation and do it over and over again until little by little, no more black people in all the colonies. Just boom. Not a drop of blood is shed. Just like that, boom, all of us vanish. What's cool about this is because it only applies to people who are racist, white allies will see us. They'll see us doing all this. Oh, shoot, that's what we doing? All right, hop on, come on. Come through, bro. We good. And that's only phase one, because I'm thinking big. I'm thinking big, bro. Phase two, we take that same ability and we pass it on to the Native Americans. Because, bro, it's the 1600s. There's like 1,600 white people in the whole continent. So imagine hundreds of millions of Native Americans all of a sudden invisible to the racist white eye. Do with that what you will. All I'm saying is the hauntings would be out of this world. Stuff that would make Stephen King look like Dr. Seuss. Scare these colonists all the way back to England. And speaking of going back, phase 3, me and the ex-slaves, we going back to Africa. And we passing the same ability on to our brothers and sisters until we turn the whole continent dark, pun intended. Nobody sees us now. And we turn the whole continent into Wakanda. Untouched, unbothered, and uncolonized. And if it was a movie, we'd call it they can't see us.
All right, racists, let's talk about the truth. There is so much discourse lately about who is native and who is indigenous, and even the nerve to bring up who is the architect of soul food. And what everyone needs to understand is that black people are the earth. Black people are the only unmutated humanity. They told you humans came from Africa like it was a migration story. But that's not the truth. The truth is, Africa is the first face of the earth. And blackness is the source of all biology. Everyone else? Genetic drift, mutational echo, survival glitches adapted to ice and exile. Let's talk origins. The black woman is the womb of the world. Forget the Eve in the garden story. That was a stolen metaphor. The real Eve lives in the woman's mitochondria. And not just any women. Melanin-rich, thick-hipped, thick-lipped, and copper-toned. Elegant, poised, literally perfect, planet-rooted black women. White women don't carry the full ancestral genome. Asian, Mexican, and Native women only carry fragments. Black women carry the total code. She doesn't reproduce diversity. She births the whole species. When small African offshoot groups migrated north, they weren't evolving. They were mutating, adapting to survival, not thriving. That's where lighter skin, narrow nostrils, reduced melanin, and behavioral changes began. All signs of environmental stress, not superiority. You don't get white by evolving, you get white by forgetting the sun. And that forgetting is not advancement, it's progression. The white genome contains 1 to 4% Neanderthal DNA. Let me repeat, they didn't just descend from humans. They were cavemen. Black people have 0 Neanderthal admixture. That's not a joke. That's biology. Black people are the originals. Non-black people are the remix. The problem is, the remix decided to express its evil nature by attempting to erase the original track. Let's talk indigenous. The term indigenous was invented by settlers to decide who was native enough to be managed, named, and displaced. But indigenous is a political term, not a genetic one. And political terms can't overwrite blood memory. Being first on the continent does not make you first on the planet. However, black people being first on the planet means they are first on every continent. The black genome is Earth's source code. Everyone else is just running a copy of their biological operating system. The war against black genetics is a war against humanity. Melanin isn't pigment, it's the processor. It's the molecule that translates solar energy into life. Plants have it, animals have it, humans need it. Black people have the highest concentration of it, which means black people don't just live on Earth, they translate it. They are not just a race, they are the root species. Black isn't a color, it's the motherboard. Every other group, adaptations, mutations, and mistakes. This isn't supremacy. This is truth. Black people didn't come from Africa. Africa came from black people.
The government doesn't want you to know that some people have superpowers. Watch this, y'all. This is insane. I don't see any strings, anything that could be helping him levitate this napkin. I've never seen anybody else do something like this. It looks like he's using just energy to manipulate this napkin. This man is a modern day wizard, y'all. So, do y'all think this is just camera magic, or is this guy legit? Maybe he's 1 in 1 billion that can actually do something like this. As always, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments.
So, yeah, definitely. Everyone expected black people to complain about the cost of living. Everyone expected black people to just break down. But this didn't happen, right? This didn't happen. But why did it happen? It didn't happen because there is something that it is in black people that is making them so much outstanding. And I said it so much earlier, and I said that if there could be a wrap-up history for 2025 and how black people have held their resilience, they have showcased their power. And I'm not saying that black people did this by becoming a Batman or a Superman, right, or Flash or something, or having supernatural powers like all those that we see in fictional movies. No, I'm talking about true superpower. I'm talking about the art of black people, the art of staying silent, the art of now harnessing your energy as a black person, because that's what has been keeping black people. And I want you to walk with me. I want to make you understand one thing. You realize that in the past, black people used to give so much of their energy to people. Like, if there was a certain group of people that was complaining, black people will go there first and advocate for them and say how they're not being given their rights or anything, right? But if it turned that black people needed help, um, like nobody cared about black people. Nobody gave a damn about black people. But now black people decided to, look back and just try to understand through history. How many times have these people tried to help us? That's what they tried to find out, right? So when they try to find out, when they're looking through the history, what they're saying that they are not being helped. They're saying people are not reciprocating their energy. Even on a spiritual realm, you are saying that you keep on filling people's cup and leaving yours empty. And that was what was happening with black Americans. But once they mastered the art of harnessing their energy and learning to conserve their energy, like spiritually, they mastered the art of becoming great. And that explains why, I'm going to explain it to you. That explains why you are seeing all those white farmers from Nebraska, from Texas, from Namir, all those white states, right? The rural states in the America, I think I've mentioned some of them. You realize that they were all complaining. Not just complaining, but they were aggressively complaining. Feel me? So at this point, you understand that black people already had mastered keeping their energy for themselves. So when they mastered keeping their energy for themselves, and this worked perfectly for black people, they realized that we've been filling people's cups, but what about us? How many times did people show for us when we needed them? How many times have we showed up for all these people that are now showing us their boots? So many times. So black people decided that this is what we gonna do. We ain't gonna give you no energy. So that's what black people did. They decided not to give these people their energy. Now that's when things started changing for black people. Things started working for black people. Understand that 2025, and I'm stressing on this, 2025, a lot of people expected black people to break down. A lot of people expected black people to feel the wrath of the American dream. Because get it this way, these folks are feeling like, whoa, 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 whoa. We have them privileges, but we are feeling the heat. Come on. But why is it that black people are not feeling the heat? That was what they were trying to figure out. But they cannot fathom it because it doesn't make sense. They can't explain because this is something which is supernatural that black people have been having. Black people needed just a way of reflecting and showing all these people that this is all we got. That's all they needed to do. Know nothing and know nothing and know nothing. That's all what black people needed to do. And I swear they did it in the perfect way. In 2025 proved a lot of things about black people. Also 2025 showed how black people somehow, somewhere, they make an important decision when it comes to politics and all these things. But, when I talk about that, I'm speaking about the physical part of it. But the spiritual part of it, black people are able to see those things that all these other groups are not able to see, and they've tried to warn them so many damn times. Brothers and sisters, they have tried to warn them for the longest time. So it's not like this is something that black people are getting right now. They've been having it. Yes, they've been having it. But they didn't know how to conserve it, to conserve their energy. But right now, black people have mastered the art of conserving their energy. And now you're about to see one of the biggest changes in the United States come 2026. I don't know. It is not a lie when they say that black people have a supernatural power. So I hope you get to understand this concept, right? Please let me know what you think and feel about this video. I'm your host and present Agitech Stories, and probably you wanna share with me anything you want to share with me. Please do that in the comment section, right? Happy holidays to everyone who's watching me. I hope you all are good, right? So let me see you on my next video. I'm your host and present Agitech Stories. Until then, peace, love, and harmony. Salute.